I am beating every N64 game, and I mean all of them. The twist is, the next game I play is randomly selected, so I have no clue what's coming next. This is the journey to beating every N64 game. Game number 183, Monster Truck Madness 64. Released in 1999, this game was developed by Edge of Reality and published by Rockstar as well as Microsoft. Oh shoot, that means this is going to be as fun as Grand Theft Auto, right? Look, I was never one of those people who got into monster trucks growing up. I think I remember having a Gravedigger toy though. I have literally never heard of this game, and it just gives me vibes that it'd be $5 in a bin of assorted carts at your local KB Toys. But you never know, this one could secretly be awesome. Let's get into it. I thought it was interesting in the options menu there was a section that just said legal. Yeah, I ain't reading all that. I'm sure it's not important. The main single player mode in this game is the circuit, so that's what we'll be doing to complete this game. It was on intermediate difficulty by default. I had to pick my truck. There was the Hitman, Firestone, Executioner, Gravedigger, Carolina Crusher, Boogie Van, Bigfoot, Barefoot, Police Truck, Wildfoot, Stinger, Black Stallion, Snakebite, Samson, Rampage, Overkill, The Outsiders, Nightmare, Monster Patrol, and Hollywood Hogan. What the heck, was he like sponsored by Monster Trucks or something? I went with Gravedigger because it was the only name I recognized, so it's gotta be good. The first track is Graveyard. Right away, I could just not drive this thing. These physics are wild. It's like you're both in slow motion and not at the same time. Yeah, I slammed into the wall and got stuck. Reversing is weird. You've got to press brake and down at the same time. Yeah, good thing I can just restart right away. I'll be honest, the lighting effects are pretty impressive for the N64. I'm on an original console, by the way, if you didn't know. I get a lot of comments saying I'm on emulator or asking what emulator I use. Anyway, I feel like you gotta give them props for the lighting here. It's a bit frustrating driving in the dark though, because it can be hard to see where I need to go next. After driving through a tunnel, I picked up some kind of bounce power-up. I literally stayed in the air for like 5 seconds. That seems more like a punishment, as I pick up this diamond power-up that makes me not get hit by other power-ups. God, I just cannot turn. My truck is bouncing all over the place. It feels like my back tires just stay in place when I move left or right. To be fair, I've never driven a monster truck, so maybe these physics make sense. Even the CPUs seem to have trash physics though. They were just crashing all over the place along with me. It honestly seems kind of weird to have a monster truck game where you race rather than try to just destroy each other. Speaking of power-ups, I got this one that surrounded my truck with a shield and I zapped all the other racers to send them flying. That's incredibly satisfying. God, this bounce power is so bad. There's no way you want to get launched like this. I wondered if the truck you pick matters, so I swapped to Snakebite since it looked way different. Predictably, it didn't matter, and I still sucked. They all have the same physics. Even when I was driving well, the other racers just touched me and the game didn't know what to do. The camera is going nuts. I'd been trying this very first race for nearly 20 minutes, but it didn't matter. I got passed right before the finish line. Oh my god. I'd rather drive in one of those F1 games. Yeah, seeing crashes like this, I have no idea why they made a racing game instead of just a ram into each other game. The crashes themselves are cool, but they are infuriating when you're trying to go fast. After nearly half an hour, I'd finally won the first race. Oh god, this is going to be a slog. The next track was Ruins. I found a power-up that turns my truck into some kind of hovercraft, and holy crap, this controls so well. Like, I felt like I was in control of my truck for the first time. Aw man, I gotta find that thing as much as possible. Even ignoring that, I was driving much better on this track. I think part of it was because it wasn't nighttime, so I could actually see. I'll take this time to talk about the graphics and audio. The graphics are honestly really good. I know I commented on the lighting effects earlier, but just the general presentation of the game is great. Pretty solid draw distance too without much lag. The audio has some kind of generic rock music being played and it gets pretty old. There's some guy who yells funny lines as commentary every now and then too.
What's next? A triple axle from a double axle?
Well, I took first place on this one first try. That's a welcome change.
What
maybe it won't be so bad after all. Next track is Junkyard. A big issue with the controls is when you land from a jump, you're so likely to just be completely out of control. And you're jumping all the time because there are hills and these trucks are lifted like 10 feet. I think the electricity power-up is by far my favorite. Just launch everyone to easily retake the lead. The nitrous is another one that's supposed to be helpful, but like, how are you supposed to stay in control like this? Trust me, it's harder than it looks. Try this game yourself. I found a bomb in this level that shrinks the other racers. I don't think I could run them over, or it would just ram them really hard if I hit them. It took a few tries, but I got out of this one. Oh man, how long will this go on? Now I was on to the heights. We're driving in an actual mountain now. It doesn't matter. No matter where we're driving, it's impossible to control. You know, except when you find that hover power up. It feels like it's so rare because this is only the second time I'd seen it. There was this one part where I had to jump down from a cliff. It was a bit confusing here because there were two paths, one from a previous segment of the track. Guess which one I chose. Once I figured out which way to go, I made it to a stream of water where I used nitrous to fly through. One of the only times it was safe to do so. The game seems to have a light amount of rubber banding, and I got past at the last second before the goal. You always have to get first place to qualify for the next one. Geez, nearly 7 minutes of racing to get through this one. That track was frustrating. The next track is Voodoo Island. There was some kind of statue and what looked to be the same water path as the last track, except it wasn't, and I hit a dead end. Great. Going on the correct path looks like it definitely shouldn't be correct. I guess we're truly entering the off-road territory now. There was this one turn that went uphill as you did, and I struggled so hard with it. Basically, anytime there's a change in elevation, you're screwed. Then there was a ramp that would end your race if you failed. Somehow, this part wasn't very jank though. I have no clue what happened on this last lap. We were all fairly close together at this turn, but then something happened. Also, it said I was in 4th, despite clearly being in 1st. By the time I finished, I was like half a lap ahead. It still said I was in 4th, but then it changed to 1st when it ended. I guess I'll take it. Still more to go, now we're on Green Hill Pass. There was a rather large jump in this one. Guess they thought I was comfortable with them by this point. I didn't quite make it, but it let me climb the hill anyway. You surely just lose if you fall down there. I got one of those hovercraft power-ups when I was high up, and it just keeps you at that height. It was pretty awesome just flying over the barrier at this section. Well, I thought it was. I also flew over the next checkpoint, and it said I missed it. Come on, you could have made them infinitely tall. That's so unfair. Turns out you can change your height with this thing. Okay, that makes sense. I'm never using that nitrous boost again. It just never goes well. I got out of this one without much trouble. Can we please end now? The next track is Wastelands. Another dark one. Love when we all collide at the start like you're braking in a game of pool. Honestly, for being a wasteland, this one isn't so bad. Sure, I went airborne a lot and crashed a lot, but so did the CPU. It was just a battle to not screw up the very end. I ran out of the hover power-up at a very bad time, and I thought this bus would stop me, although it turned out it was just a piece of scenery that I could shove out of the way. Cool. I got out of that one first try. Aztec Valley is up next. I was crossing a very sketchy bridge when I got the electricity power and sent everyone into next Tuesday. It's a good thing too, because the next segment is way too hard to keep stable on. There's a mild shortcut at the end where you can skip a huge hairpin turn. I kind of feel like it's unintended though. With this skip, I was able to take first place yet again. Okay, we're finally on the last track, Alpine Challenge. Just seeing the minimap made me realize this one's gonna suck. At the start, you swap from a nice paved road to something a bit more rugged. They pulled the same thing again later, and of course, I missed it. At least I noticed before I went too far past the checkpoint. I don't know, all these tracks are starting to blend together. I won on the second try and saw something horrible. It said, now try it on Expert. What? If I knew I had to do that, I would have done it from the start. So instead, what I decided to do is I looked up the passcode to get to the last track on Expert. I feel like this one isn't my fault, so I felt okay doing it rather than playing through the entire game again. So anyway, the actual final track of the game is Death Trap, and that's a good description of what you're getting into if you play it. Of course, it's dark and raining. I swear the computer is operating under different physics than me. How are they not also getting launched 30 feet in the air by any slight hill? The rain made it so much worse too. It was like I was driving with ice physics. If they ever so much as touched me, all bets were off. It almost always made me get the bad end of it. How did I get turned around there? Come on. Little did I know, I'd be stuck here a while. It was just way too hard to drive well for as long as you needed in the rain. I don't even know what happened here. Even the hovercraft was betraying me now. It just jerked my truck to the left for no reason when it ran out. Who even knows what this was? When they crash into me, it's like an actual monster truck hitting a tricycle. When I crash into them, it's like I'm pushing a little Tonka truck around. I don't understand. After like an hour and a half of grinding, I got the 1% chance to have a crash go in my favor, only because I had missiles ready. I had finally won. Good riddance. Literally all you get for winning on Expert is some text at the bottom of the screen saying you were the monster truck master. Oh my god, that wasn't even close to worth it. The credits are just available at any time in the options menu. The only other thing there was some cheats to try out. You can make the trucks low riders, introduce turbo mode, and replace the ground textures with Jim's face. Whoever that is. But yeah, that's about all there is for this one. Game complete. So yeah, there you have it. My journey to beating Monster Truck Madness 64. Look, I didn't go into this expecting a great time, but I feel like I got a bad game. Maybe the multiplayer can make it better, but the single player sure isn't it. I think this might be the worst driving physics I've ever played on. There was just nothing I could do to make it work. Especially when it rained? No chance. Even if this controls like a real monster truck would, it's just not fun. The game did have good graphics and presentation, like the lighting and all. The music is so bland though, and it's very forgettable, if even annoying. This is one I'll probably never recommend anyone play. I gave Monster Truck Madness a 1.5 out of 10 for enjoyability and a 7 out of 10 for difficulty. Alright, thanks for watching, I hope you enjoyed. We had a randomized marble race to determine which game was next, so here's how that played out. Or skip to the timestamp on screen to skip straight to the game selection. So we'll do a random race on Express Delivery. 208 games left on the list. Ooh, we haven't been on this track yet. This is a new one. Killer Instinct Gold. It's hard to read. World Driver Championship. Space Invaders. We got a boomer game in here. 3, 2, 1, go. Let's see. Who will be the first? Oh my god, okay, a lot just went down. I have no clue, folks. This is chaos. The cameraman is stuck. And where is the marble? Here we go. The cameraman is failing aggressively, but he's figured it out. We will be replacing him. Midway's greatest arcade hits in the lead. Mortal Kombat, Zor Maju, Custom Robo V2. That would be pretty fun. And not much lead change happening here. We'll see a couple pegs along the way, but Midway's greatest hits still in the lead, and now we'll see what happens. Getting a little shaken up here. I see F-Zero X as well as Kirby 64 in the mix. There are some portals here. Those could shake things up as we see... Oh my god, folks! Through the portal! Through the portal! The next GKyo game lands it beautifully. They come out of the portal right here, and it's very unlikely, as you see, Shin Nippon Pro Wrestling. That's what usually happens. But there is a small chance that they will land in, and the next GKyo game has... it made it into the goal. V-Rally Golden Nugget Battle Zone also made it, but looks like Robot Ponkotsu would have been the winner without the portal. Yes, there were portals back, those blue things, they get launched out from here, and it worked out for the next GKyo game, which is... GKyo Powerful Pro Yaku... Oh, you can't see. Where's it at? GKyo Powerful Pro Yaku 2000. It has been decided. But yeah, if you're still here watching, you're awesome. Thank you so much. If you had a good time, consider hitting that like button, or maybe even dropping a subscription. Or hey, maybe even watch another one of these videos that's on screen now. And yeah, see you next time.